So my first days out on the floor, like I said, I met some people, and it was one or two ladies that we really connected really well. So we laughed and talked every day. Everything was good. We had our little spot where we would eat our lunch, all of that stuff. Fast forward, because I know y'all trying to figure out, where are you going with this? Well, give me a minute. I'm going to get to it, okay? I just have to give you the story so that you can understand how this all came to pass. Okay, God, dog, y'all so impatient. Let me tell you guys a story. So years back when I was much, much younger, I had put in for a position at a uniform company. And the position was for a supervisor, in one of the managerial roles. So I was very familiar with being able to do that type of work. I had the skill for it. So I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and put in for that position. And I got the position. So I did a little celebratory, me and my cousins and all, we were all excited that you done landed her another job. Because back in the day, it was very easy for me to get a job. And being that I was young, sometimes you will find yourself skippity hopping in between jobs until you find one that you really, really think that you want. Well, I was young, but I still had little ones that I needed to take care of too. So it was very important to me that I land a good job. So once I knew I had this position and it was time for me to start, probably about a week or so after that I had actually received the job, when I got there, the first thing they did was had me come, into human resources, all that good stuff, So I get off in there and, then they hit me, with a ton of bricks of information that I was not expecting. So the information that they gave me was that normally when they start someone off on a supervisor role, they also would like for them to at least get their feet wet as a regular employee so that you can understand the basics of the job. And since I had never worked at a uniformal business before, they thought it would be, just if I did that. So, you know what? I said, sure, I'll go ahead on and do it, even though at first, I was reluctant. I was like, wait, that's not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to end up being out on the floor working like everybody else. I call myself done graduated from that type of work. But yet did I know I had not. So I just decided, I'll go ahead on and do it. It was only supposed to be for about 6 weeks. 6 weeks was already too long. But at that point, when I first started, I did not know how much the people made on the floor. When I say floor, I mean the people that actually worked and did all of the hard workload on the floor. I had no idea how much they made because I had signed up. Remember, I applied for the supervisor role. So when I agreed to it, then I had all this paperwork and stuff that I had to do. And I don't even know why. When you young, it's very hard. And I ain't going to say everybody, but I know for me, when I was young, it was really hard for me to just open my mouth and say some of the basic things or ask, some of the basic questions. Like, how much are you paying me to do the floor work? If I'm going to work like everybody else, wait, hold up. How much am I getting paid? See, now today, I'm most definitely going to open my mouth and I am going to ask that question. But back then, it was very hard for me to do that. It just seems like, you know what, Deidre, just go ahead on and, see how it's going to be. You know how we think when we are naive. So I went on ahead and took the position. I don't even recall that I even asked how much I was going to make. So fast forward, I met a couple of people out on the floor and I was like, hey, this is going to be cool. But I knew that I didn't need to get too close to them because I was already going to be, after 6 weeks, supposedly, I was going to end up being their supervisor. So I didn't need to get too close to these people out on the floor and have them thinking that I was going to be treating anybody special from anybody else. No, I came to do a job. I got a check I got to make. I got kids I have to take care of, and I'm not going to be doing that. So my first days out on the floor, like I said, I met some people, and it was one or two ladies that we really connected really well. So we laughed and talked every day. You know, everything was good. We had our little spot where we would eat our lunch, you know, all of that stuff. Fast forward, because I know y'all trying to figure out, where are you going with this? Well, give me a minute. I'm going to get to it, okay? I just have to give you the story so that you can understand how this all came to pass. Okay, God, dog, y'all so impatient. Anywho, so when the week came to get paid, because, you know, I had been there a week, so I, you know, and the pay period was every week, but, you know, since I started like midweek, I didn't get a check. So when the next week came, it was time to get our checks, and we were actually out on the floor handling the uniforms, okay? But, yeah, we were handling the uniforms, and then someone came through and they was passing out our checks. And, you know, back then, it was mainly paper check. So they gave my check, and everybody was standing up there just laughing and talking. Nobody was half doing work. Everybody just turned up the little envelopes, looking at their checks. And when I opened my check, I have always been one to just give you a poker face. Okay? I can give a poker face in a minute. And on the inside, I could be dying. Okay? So I was dying on the inside. When I opened that check and I seen how much I had, I thought that there was something wrong with this check. I guess mentally, well, I ain't gonna say mentally, I was actually thinking of no other amount of pay than what I was originally supposed to be making when I came. So I would try into the human resource office and come to find out it was correct. The people on the floor just make a low amount more money than what you would make if you were in a managerial position. I was like, ugh, this is not working. You know, I had already took a little 2-week little vacay before I even started work. So now, you know, I find myself in a pickle. Okay, because I didn't open my mouth. I was young and naive and didn't want to ask, what is the pay? But today, I don't do that, okay? Soon as somebody called me, you know how they do. Look, I done come a little bit from the story, but you know I like to jab. So if someone calls me today and they ask me about a job, we have a job opening, and I get those all the time. You know how they'll send you the little text messages and all that stuff like they know you when they don't, okay? But when they send it to me, the first thing they say, we have a job, and we saw your skills, and we looked at your resume. Your resume is wonderful. You have so many skills, and I just know that this will be a perfect position before you. Before we get any further into this, how much is base pay before W-2? See, I don't waste no time no more. Bullshit around it, and then here I come, done went and did the interview, get the job. Now, doing the interview, I'm still reluctant to ask. Oh, I don't do that no more. I don't play them games. You can tell me right on the phone, okay? And when they say, you know they love to throw that 15. Why is everybody trying to pay you $15 to $18? $15 an hour. It's a great starting pay. What? Says who? Matter of fact, don't you even call my phone anymore for anything under 30, okay? Thank you so much for calling. Have a wonderful day. Babe, I don't play no games. But anyway, back to the story. They tell me that's how much I'm supposed to be making. I was flabbergasted. Do you hear me? My mind was blown. I was like, oh, I'm going to have to deal with this for 6 weeks, okay? Let me tell you something. I didn't make it. I didn't even make it. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not make it. But back to the story. So I had to go in the bathroom and take a breath. So I went in the bathroom, I took a breath. I was like, oh my God, the bills that are behind now for about a week and a quarter, I ain't even gonna be able to pay them. What kind of check is this, right? But turns out I wasn't the only one in there that was upset about a check. It was one of my ace coons that I hadn't got real close with. She was in there too. Okay, so fast forward to the next week when it was time to get paid. I already knew I was finna be stressing, right? My mental anguish was built so big on my way to work on payday. I knew that this was not gonna be happy, okay? When they walked through there and went to passing out those checks, the first thing I did was I looked at my little homie, right? And she was looking directly at me. And so, you know, I gave her one of the little nods, you know. So we went headed into the bathroom. We went in the bathroom, boiling pulled the checks out and looked at the checks, and I already knew, because I was built up. It was already just built up in me, this pain and anguish. It was just in me so deep, right? So I looked at the check and the tear just started rolling down my face. I'm talking about it was coming, right? I looked over at her. Because she saw me cry, she started crying. Look, we ended up in there like we done seen some very, very horrific things occurring in our life, because we did. And we could do nothing but just hug each other in the bathroom and cry out our check. And what did we do? And what did I do? Instead of immediately looking for something else at that moment, continued on with the same thing the next week. Third week roll around, we go to the bathroom, open up our check. We don't want nobody to see us crying on the line, right? So we go in the bathroom, open up our check. And let me tell you something. If I could turn back the hand of time today, I most definitely would not have done that. It took me all the way up until the end of the 4th week. And then the reason why I went on ahead, because I would have tried because I really wanted that position that I actually originally had signed up for. I really wanted it. But what made me change my mind is that they called me in there and told me that the person that they was going to hire to actually get on the line had reneged on them, so they needed me to stay at least another 2 or 3 weeks. I already knew then that this was not going to be going well. Every other week, they're going to be calling me, asking me, can I continue to stay on the line? Okay, but you're not going to continue to pay me this check. Okay, you are not going to continue to pay me this check. Okay, I got a house, I got kids, I got stuff that I got to do. Okay, and I am not going to accept this pay. I didn't tell them that though. Because like I said, I was young and I was naive, and I did not have that power as far as where authority was concerned to just stand up for myself and say what exactly it was that I needed, what I was going to accept, what I was not going to accept. So I took what they gave me until they called me in there that second round, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to go ghost on them. That it took me up to that 4th week to start looking for something else. But let me tell you something. If I would have taken it upon myself to realize when they first said it, okay, that I probably would need to be figuring this out and getting out of here, things would have went a little different, okay? But bear in mind, I did say that I wanted to wait because I thought 6 weeks, okay, I can handle 6 weeks, I can handle 6 weeks because I really wanted that position. But when they called me back in there again, I knew that I had been got, okay? Just like the day, April 1st, in case y'all want to know, yep, the day I made this video was April 1st. And let me tell you something, I had an April Fool's Day that day, and I could have my pants, and you know what I was about to say. But I turned around and I went on ahead and looked for something else. That's why the moral of this story is that if you are working a job and this job is not paying you enough money, it doesn't matter, okay? Whether you love your coworkers, it doesn't matter if you love the environment. You're not too cold. You're not too hot. You just right. Ain't nobody on your back. There's no micromanaging. There's nothing like that going on. It doesn't matter. If they are not paying you enough money for you to survive. And I'm not saying you just super greedy, like you make more than enough, but to you, my head's so big, I deserve. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, that when that check comes, not only are you check to check, but you got to figure out what you're going to pay, because I've been there. What you going to pay? Am I going to pay my car note, or am I going to let my car note ride a week and be late and start dodging phone calls so I can get this light bill out? Oh, let me tell you something. If you are in that sort of anguish every week when it comes to your paycheck, stop wasting time with these people. It is time to let that job go and find you something else. Trust me, it's something else out there. Do you know what I heard on the news today? Shook me to my core. The new minimum wage in Los Angeles, in California, or is it just LA? You know what? I don't know, but I know I heard $20. Now they say the minimum wage is $20, which means that all of the fast foods and the restaurant foods about to go way up because these people are not going to be able to keep their businesses open with no, you know what, that ain't even none of my problem. What should have been happening is what's happening now. And at the end of the day, it should be happening all over the world. But minimum wage in California or LA, one of the two, so don't nobody jump in my comment section and try to correct me, is $20. Okay? Now imagine if minimum wage was that much back in the day when all of these people was losing their homes because they were trying to make it. You know how many people ended up homeless or ended up having to go home and live with their parents or some family or friend and scout on a couch somewhere or just throw up a tent somewhere, not just here but anywhere, because the minimum wage was so low and that was the only job they had at the moment. When things hit rock bottom, when COVID hit, think about your life, not just today. Think about your life for later, not just today, but later too, okay? Because your future matters, all right? Yeah, it's true. We ain't going to be here forever and everybody going to have to clock out. But at the same time, while you here, no man knows the day or the hour. So since you don't know, while you here, you need to be making sure that your life is the best that you can make it to be. And don't let nobody downplay you and what your skills are. If you don't have skills, get you some, okay? It's too many certs around here that don't cost much, okay? If you can spend money to buy you something to go out and wear on the weekends, buy you something for Easter Sunday. You can spend money to go buy you some dinners in the weekdays when you could be cooking at home. Then guess what you can do? You can pay for a skill. Get you some skills, okay? And then find you a better job. You don't even have to have those many skills to just look for something else. But let me tell you something. I don't care if you are in a pickle right now and you are barely making enough to survive from one day to the next, let alone week for week, let alone check for check. You robbing Peter to pay Paul. You got all this going on. Trust me, because I've been there. I know that, seen that, done that. If you are living in that type of situation, then you need to find you a better job. And it doesn't matter if that next job is offering to pay you another $1. You thinking to yourself, another $1? Well, at the end of the week, let's do the math on that. Another $1 in a 40-hour work week. That ain't but $20 more on my check. Okay, but at the end of the month, that's what, 2, 4, 6, that's $80 at the end of the month. Which bill did you have to put on hold last month for this other rinky-dink job that didn't pay you? Duh? Could you have used that $80? See, let me tell you something. Do the math on it, and if it makes sense and it's going to save your life for right now, you better get you one. Let me tell you something. Find you something else and let that job go. Or do you one better and learn how to work for yourself? Y'all know what to do. Like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell because I will be bringing you something back later. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.